Since I've got into my 30s, I found that my matches on dating apps have completely dropped off.
Okay.
Do you think that that's something that can be changed from a man's perspective, or do you think just those men are just not going to be my men? Yeah, difficult, horrible question for you. But...
Okay. What am I about to say you're not going to like?
Oh, I know, I'm ready. So how do I then find someone who's going, you've got a really great smaller boat there on your captain. Why don't you join my bigger boat and be lieutenant? I almost wish you hadn't told me, though.
Guys, never tell.
Never tell.
Just never...
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. You know we love to bring you some great conversations and we get on great people as well. I'm very excited about our guest today. I've had a lot of chats with her about dating stuff in the past, but this is the first time that she's actually going to come on and record with us, so it's going to be fun. Please welcome Kayleigh. Kayleigh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, I'm excited.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
I am.
You've seen a lot of you've seen the couch in different videos. Now you're here.
I know. I'm scared for what you're going to ask me, but also no, I'm good. I'm excited because also like I want the answers, Kit.
Yeah.
And you're going to give them to me.
Well, here's the thing. We're here to have open, honest conversations. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes we can talk about things that can be sensitive, but we want to build a bridge.
Yeah, completely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially for men and women. So, first question.
Okay.
Let's just start with, if you were going to describe dating in 3 words today, how would you describe it?
Flaming pile of trash.
Tell us why.
Modern dating sucks, right? I'm not even going to be around the bush. It's rubbish.
Tell us why.
Tell us why.
Yeah.
Because, like, romance is dead.
Okay.
No one communicates what they actually want.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's really hard to meet people in an organic setting, yeah? Because everyone's, like, on their phone swiping left and right.
Yep.
It's really hard to know who people are. And so, like... where we're basing everything off of someone's picture and whether they're funny on their profile or whatever, you don't know them. You don't know if you're attracted to them until you turn up to the date. You get to the date, within 5 minutes, you know, this is dead. And then you're stuck on a date with some guy that you have nothing in common with. Okay. Or might be like a foot shorter than he said he was. Or like...
Do you not think judging within 5 minutes is a bit harsh?
True. And I would never leave after 5 minutes.
Okay.
Like, this is the thing. Like,
yeah.
But you know initial attraction, right?
Yes.
You've got to have that initial attraction.
Yeah.
You know that within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I hear that.
And I'm also not saying it's the be-all and end-all. But
yeah,
like,
of course.
You know, when you know, right?
When you know what?
That you're into someone.
Yeah, I mean, you know whether you're attracted to them first.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And I think you have to have that initial attraction or...
you have to be physically attracted to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the initial, that's important.
Because otherwise you're just going to end up friends, which again is absolutely fine. But I think that whole process of like... being on an app, and that being the way we find people is killing dating. And
why do you think it's killing dating?
Because romance is dead. Like, where's the romance in that?
So what's the ideal romantic scenario for you?
It's not like the bar is so low key. I just want a guy to like meet me in the pub. Like, just get chatting at the pub and then be like, you're nice. Shall we go for a drink? Yeah, all right. The bar is that low, but instead. I have to be on Hinge with some guy being like, so, what's your Nando's order? Like, like dating is dead.
So you want a guy to approach you in public?
Yeah, but it doesn't even have to like be a big grand thing. It could just be that like we're both at the bar.
Do you not think it's hard for guys to approach in public?
Yeah, I do, because it's hard for women to approach in public.
Would you approach a guy in public?
I find it hard. I have done it, but I found it absolutely terrifying. And I think...
How many times have you done it?
Not many. I probably count on one hand.
So maybe, why don't you do it more?
Because it's terrifying. And getting rejected is horrible. So, like, this is what I mean. Don't get me wrong. I know how hard it is to approach women.
Yep.
Especially, like, if I'm a single woman, I'm probably out with other single women. Yeah. And I can understand that as a man going, how do I approach this... feral group of women.
Yeah.
Probably been at boozy brunch all afternoon.
Right.
But, you know, like...
And they may just want to have a girls' night out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. And then there's the whole bit of, as a man, I can imagine you're fearful of being that creepy guy that just, like, creeps on a girl.
No guy wants to be that.
No, exactly. Yeah. So there's ways of doing it, and I completely get it. I just, like, what did people do 50 years ago? Like, write a love letter and then, like, send it off and hope for the best? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think you know, if I can speak for some of the men,
Yes.
I think in terms of approaching today, I think because of which is the hashtag Me Too and sexual harassment awareness is very important.
Yeah.
And you know that is it's obviously very important and that needed to be done. However, there are not all, but because it is the line is not clear between what can be a guy creeping sexual harassment and what is a guy making a bad approach. Because I think a lot of guys have seen, okay, a guy approaches a girl, if she's not into him, then it's seen as harassment. But if she's into him, then it's an approach.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but I guess what I would say...
So as a guy, it's kind of like, well, I don't know if she likes me unless I try.
Yeah.
But if I try and she doesn't like me, then I'm harassing her.
You're harassing her if you persist when she says no.
I agree.
So I think if you go up to a woman and say, hey, sorry to bother you, you look really interesting, I don't want to ruin or interrupt your night, but if you're single, I'd love to get your number. No woman's going to be like, ugh, like, he's harassing me. There's some women will. But no woman who is of value in terms of, like, being a kind and empathetic woman who you probably should want to date anyway, right?
So I agree with you, but then how do we know if she's one of those women?
Okay.
If we don't know her.
You're completely right.
And so what I'm saying is that's why they've resorted to dating apps, because it eliminates the risk. That's why everything's gone to dating apps.
No,
so
that makes
no makes the approach.
Makes complete sense. But what I mean is, like, it's killed organic communication as well. Like,
I agree, and I think to be fair to women, I like to think it's only a small percentage of women who would react very distastefully to a guy who maybe they're not into approaching them.
Yeah.
But it is something that men see, so they're scared. They don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said, everything's so connected now.
Yeah.
And guys see online all the time, girls saying they got approached by this guy and that was harassing for her and stuff. So I think a lot of it comes from a place of fear, because most guys are good guys who just want to find someone.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be talked about online by another woman. Does that make sense?
Completely. That completely makes sense. And I guess, like, then what we need to, as, like, our generation of single people, we need to work out how we can make, I don't know, our chat better on dating apps then. Because, like, even though that is, like we say, it is, like, the best way to meet people now. And also, like, meet people I would never normally meet. Like, my job doing music and acting and stuff means that I'm not out at the pub on a Thursday or a Friday night after work drinks where I can meet people.
Yeah.
I'm usually out in Soho swinging around a pole with my gay friends. So I'm probably not going to meet many straight men there.
Yeah.
But dating apps does connect the dots between me meeting some, I don't know, finance bro from Clapham. Not really my type, but you never know.
Yeah. True.
And that's amazing.
Yes.
But then getting from matching to date is really hard as well. Do you not think?
Well, I think it depends on the person, because I think there are some people who they match with someone and they're like, some people are just like, they're not texters, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, great to match with you and stuff. I'd love if we could go for a coffee and then I can get to know you rather than this texting game for a week. But then some people really want to text for a week or two to get to know them first before meeting with them.
I would say that on that,
yeah,
as a woman, I find it really weird when men straight away after matching, like, can I get your number? Let's meet up. I'm like, hold on. I don't know if we have anything in common yet. All I've got is 3 pictures of you wearing sunglasses in every photo and one line about how you want to take David Attenborough out for dinner.
So here's my question. I understand that. I understand.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you, because you said that you like it. If you're at a pub or something, a guy just comes up, says, hey, I don't want to ruin your night and stuff. You just look really interesting. I'd love to get a number and take you out for a coffee. You'd be meeting him and you don't know him.
Good point. touche. However, you get a sense of someone and their being and who they are physically.
You get more of their
person.
energy. That's true.
Like looking at
true.
someone's photo is like the 2D version of a person, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, I would say I look like my photos, but there's definitely photos that I look much better in than others. And if I am on a night out, I'm going to be looking more like this photo. If I've just come out of the gym and I'm not wearing much makeup, I'm going to look more like that photo.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you're going to get when you're swiping on a dating app, who you're going to meet that day.
Well, I completely agree. But I guess that's the, you know, with everything, there's pros and cons. And I think the pros to dating apps, like you said, is that you actually have an access to a wider group of people.
Yeah.
But obviously it means that in terms of meeting people, then it may be harder to get to that point because you haven't met them in person.
Yeah.
You want to build a little bit of a rapport with them before you meet with them, which I understand. But I think it's like, you know, some people want to meet straight away because they don't like texting.
Yeah.
And some people want to text for 2-3 weeks to really get to know someone before meeting with them.
I think there's a balance, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to be your pen pal for a month before we go for a coffee and then I realise that this is dead. Like, I want to meet up with at least within the first week.
Sure.
Because otherwise, why am I wasting my time?
I think that's fair. I think within the first week, I think that's reasonable for sure.
And also, like, I hate to say it, but dating nowadays is a numbers game. Like, it is though. It is. Like, you've got to get out and date. Like, you have to get out and go on dates. Like, again, because the dating pool is wider because we have dating apps.
Yes.
Unless we live in London, as well. So there's loads of single people.
Yeah.
It's not like I live in my little village where I grew up and you marry the person you were at school with.
Yes.
If you're in a city like London or Manchester or Glasgow, whatever, and you're single, you're going to be on these dating apps and you're going to have to just like go out and go on lots of dates because there's just a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? And that's tiring. That's what makes the dating thing nowadays just feel so, like I said, unromantic because...
So do you think that because we have an access of opportunities with people, maybe that's actually what it is. So what I mean is, because if someone said to you, okay, you can only date one new person every 6 months, I think the guy who you end up choosing one version of 6 months, you probably wouldn't write it off after 2 dates because you'd be like, okay, well, I've got 4 months left before I can date someone else. So let me try and be more patient. Whereas if you meet a guy, right, or a girl, like, you know, for guys, if you meet someone, right, you're like, the date was okay, but I didn't feel anything. And you've got 10 new people wanting to meet you. You're probably just going to go and see them.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. We should do it. We should make a dating app where you're only allowed to match with like 5 people a month and you're only allowed to go on dates with like one of them every 6 months. And
how could you?
I don't know how. Maybe it's like they're not allowing someone's phone number.
But here's the thing. But what you could just implement that rule for yourself.
Yeah. But like, I just went on a couple of dates with a guy recently. Literally this week, I went on the second date and I knew after the first date that it wasn't a vibe. We have very different values.
Yep.
And separate leanings politically.
Sure. Which
for me is like quite a big thing. Like, I want to not have someone that completely agrees with me all the time.
Yeah.
But there are some things that I'm like, we really need to be on the same page or we're going to just like...
You're going to clash.
Yeah.
I get that.
But I went on a second date with him because like you say, I think you should always give people a second chance, especially if initially there was attraction and there's, as much as I know that these things were wrong, there was a lot good about the date. But I don't think I'd want to hang on to someone for 6 months. I know after date 2 if it's a goer or not. So yeah, I know what you mean about implementing that rule for myself, but I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it.
It's too much temptation.
I'm a weak woman. I know there's too many men around.
There's too many men. Before I get to something else, what's something that you want to talk about? Because I know you had a couple of things.
Oh, okay. How deep do we want to get? Do you want to get into some like, I don't understand men's brains vibes? Okay.
That's why we're here.
Okay, I hope that other women feel this pain too. And I'm going to bring up Love Island because it's a good cultural reference.
Okay.
But there seems to be this notion around labelling that men don't seem to seem to comprehend it in a very different way to women. So I was recently seeing someone on off since October last year until we ended it in, I think, April. We had a little gap over Christmas because he got a job where I'd be working away. And I, with my personal trust issues, was like, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to a long-term relationship with you yet. I still want to get to know you, but I also think we're not going to have time to do that because you're going to be traveling. So we both were like, right, we'll call it off.
Yeah.
Both realised after 4 or 5 weeks that actually we do really like each other. Let's just give it a go.
Okay.
So we started, no labels or anything, but if he was near London, he would stay with me. I went out to visit him on tour and things like that. Texting every day, talking every day, all good vibes, all moving towards what I would consider probably ending up being in a relationship. But we never, ever said that.
Okay.
And then he was due to come and spend a week with me. The couple of weeks before, been in Cardiff with him. We'd had a lovely romantic couple of days. And then 2 days before he was supposed to come and stay with me for a week, he texted me to let me know that he'd slept with someone else and he'd made a huge mistake.
Were you in an exclusive relationship?
Right. This is what we're getting to.
Okay.
So his argument was, yeah, but we're not in an exclusive relationship.
Yep.
Fine. My comeback to that is, why would you think that I would want you to come anywhere near me when 48 hours ago you were literally inside someone else?
Okay.
And why do you think that it's acceptable when you know full well that that would hurt me? Yes, you're allowed to do it because there's no label.
Yeah.
But is it a responsible, respectful decision?
Okay. So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. So you didn't want him to sleep with anyone else?
It wasn't that I don't want him to, but do I think that it was the right thing to do? No.
Do you see it as the wrong thing to do?
Because he knew it would hurt me, yes.
We can't say what other people would know.
True, but he knew a lot about my personal history. He knew a lot about my issues with trust and previous people cheating on me. Yes, technically not cheating, I get that. But and also, regardless of all the baggage, he was literally meant to be in my bed 2 days later.
I understand. It's not it's not tasteful.
It's not tasteful.
So here's the thing. One thing that I think can end relationships before they even start is having unexpressed expectations.
Sure, yeah.
And it sounded like you had an expectation of him.
Yeah.
Right? That you hadn't expressed to him.
Completely.
So I understand where you're coming from. But if you have an expectation, if someone has an expectation of you and you don't fulfill that,
yeah,
right? Then how can they hold you responsible for not meeting that expectation when they didn't even know that was what you had?
Yeah, and that's an absolutely fair point. But I also think that...
Because did you not wonder of having the conversation of, oh, I would like us moving forward, it's just you and me? Yeah,
and I genuinely was about to have that conversation with him. He was about to be spending a week with me.
Okay.
And I thought that that's where those conversations were going to happen.
What month was this into? How long have you been seeing each other at this
point?
point?
We met in October. This would have been April. It's like 6 months.
Okay.
Bearing in mind we had that little hiatus in the middle.
Okay.
And yeah.
At what point did you stop seeing other people?
After that Christmas hiatus.
Okay. And at what point in your head would you have liked him to stop seeing other people?
Probably around March, April time. Because it was like we were making plans consistently to see each other.
So it was around the same time, except with someone else, that you were going to...
Yeah.
Okay. So up to that point, though, if you slept with someone else, you don't have to like it.
Sure.
But could you not have understood?
I could have understood. Do you know what? Even if he'd done it 2 weeks before coming to see me, I could maybe have understood more. It's the fact that you have the audacity and the disrespect to come and do that 2 days before he meant to be in my house. I literally was texting him at the party he was at, where he met the girl that he then went and slept with. I was like, at no point, when you'd literally been speaking to me maybe 3 or 4 hours previous, did you go, what will Kayleigh think about this? And he literally went, yeah, but I just didn't care enough in the moment. And I was like...
Well, I think... So I understand that. I do understand that. I think what it is, it's... If you've not had that conversation...
Yeah.
And if he's... Because technically,
But this
nothing wrong happened, right?
Sure, and I
because
get that.
because if you did the same thing,
Yeah.
he wouldn't like it, but he couldn't be
But this
annoyed at
is
you.
what I am trying to get at.
Okay.
This idea of technicality
Yes.
being the overarching, well, technically we're not in a relationship, so I can do it. Where it's like, but, and I get that this experience is quite niche because we were probably moving towards a relationship. If you're in a casual relationship with someone, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically you're not in a relationship, but if you do something, okay, it's a bit like this, right?
Go on.
If I came over and just slapped you in the face,
Yes.
now technically,
But you did do something wrong.
wait,
You would be doing something wrong because you're putting your hands on me.
yeah, but because I know you wouldn't like me slapping you in the face, right?
Yeah.
You know you.
But also,
That's
that's the wrong thing to do, though.
Okay. If I know that you hate being tickled, yeah, and I come over and I just start tickling you relentlessly, okay,
Yes.
and I know you hate it, and you know that I know you hate it, you'd be like, why are you tickling me? If I've had a conversation with someone where I've gone, look, I've had these issues before in the past with someone, blah, blah, blah. Yes, technically, he could go ahead and sleep with someone else. But should he, knowing full well it will hurt me and he's seeing me in 2 days' time?
So I agree. Like I'm not
thinking
just
about tickling you.
Literally, I'm like, she's about to come here. I'm so scared. So look, I'm not trying to say what he did is the way we should be moving.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I think what I'm trying to say is that, okay, let's say I go away, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to look after my place while I'm away.
Yeah.
And I say, anything that's in the place, makes yourself feel at home.
Yeah.
And then I come back and you've eaten my chocolate Frosties and I'm pissed off because that's my favourite chocolate Frosties.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm having a go at you, like, why did you eat it? Mm-hmm. You're going to say to me, well, I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, sure.
That's an unexpressed expectation that I put on you. So here's the thing. Now, I could go to you, oh, I've had it in the past, people eating my food. I don't like that. So I could be like, well, you know I don't like it when people eat my shit. Mm-hmm. So why are you eating my shit?
Yeah.
Right? But just because of what happened in the past, that doesn't mean that... It doesn't mean that you shouldn't express expectations you have to the person today.
Yeah, completely. That I take. That was my wrongdoing, for sure. But do I think that... I still don't think his behaviour was respectful.
I'm not saying it was.
This is where, it comes into this more overarching thing of like, do men and women just feel about this differently?
Yes.
You don't watch Love Island, but for those of us that watch Love Island,
I've watched it before.
Casa Amor has just happened, which is
I know
the
what that means.
ultimate test. I hate the word test after this series of Love Island because it's just annoying. Basically, all the girls went off to Casa Amor and the boys are left in the villa. And generally speaking, all the boys just went, yes, and just got off with like all the girls. And then when they've been found out, when they've come back and the girls have been told whatever, they're all getting like, I don't understand. They're getting confused about why the girls are hurt. And it's this same thing of like, yeah, but we're not in a relationship.
Yes.
I thought it was a test. And I had to explore the other connections to make sure I knew that you were the one. See, you can even see the bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. Okay.
It's bullshit.
Okay, so
bullshit.
one thing okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
This guy that you were seeing
Uh-huh.
and you were being intimate with and in your head you're like, this could lead somewhere.
Yes.
Did you want to be sleeping with anyone else?
No.
Okay, that's the difference between men and women.
Sure.
The difference is for men, they can still want one woman emotionally and still have sex with other women.
Yeah.
Because whereas generally, not saying women can't do that, but generally speaking, when a woman is getting the man that she's emotionally and sexually invested in, she's not interested in being physical with anyone else.
Yeah, I would say that's quite a generalisation.
Yes.
But, I mean, I can kind of see that. But
that's why this situation where the technicality or a guy sleeping with other people and stuff and a girl having an issue even though they're not in a relationship, that's why 9 times out of 10, it tends to be one way. It tends to
Yeah.
be she's not okay, right? That they're not in a relationship, but he still slept with someone else because she doesn't want to. And I think part of understanding men is that men can separate emotions from sex generally a lot easier than women. A man can a man could be in love with one woman and be having sex with 5 others. But I think the average woman, she's not built that way. I know, but it's the way that men are built. Men, because look, you want to choose somebody who has similar values to you.
Yeah.
But we already know the thing that turns women on is different to the things that turn men on.
Yeah. In what way?
In a way, so we know men are very visual creatures, which is why 99% of porn consumers are men.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. The thing that tends to turn women on is 50 Shades of Grey, romantic films, things that are more to do with the emotional and mental intimacy that then play into the physical.
Yeah.
Whereas guys can look at a pair of boobs and be like, I'm ready.
Boobs, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think if we can understand that guys separate sex or physical intimacy from emotions, a guy can still want you, but then a hot girl comes along, she's like, I'm around for the night, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm game. I'm not saying it's okay,
no,
I'm not
agreed,
saying it's respectful.
I think then for me personally, I'm like, okay, that man is not for me. Do you know what I mean?
The man who is wired that way, or the guy who operates that way?
I think you're probably correct that most men are wired that way.
Yes.
You can make choices to either do that or not. And if you know that doing that will disrespect someone that you have emotional connection for and feelings for and something you want to pursue, then I reckon that you should choose no. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can... I think that there's choices to be made consistently. Yes. Like you've just said there, maybe I should have chosen to be more vocal about my expectations.
Yes.
Just in the same way that men can choose whether or not they decide to go with those innate feelings that they have to sleep with the girl with the boobs. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. So I'm going to talk about that situation because you said that he told you.
Yes.
Why do you think he told you?
I think he told me because he wanted to be honest with me.
Okay.
I also think he told me because he knew he'd feel too guilty not to tell me. I think if he hadn't told me, we'd probably still be dating.
So is that why things ended?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a hard boundary for me that he crossed.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Because let's say January, February time was when you would have wanted him to be only investing in you and no one else. Right?
Yeah.
If you had expressed to him, hey, I really like you, I love the way things are going. For this to move forward, I need to know that there's no one else on the scene.
Yeah, but I think as well for me, like, and again, this is this idea that like women are desperate to just like pin down a man, right? And just like get the claws in and go. Sure. I consciously choose to get to know people slowly nowadays. Like I consciously make that effort because I've made big mistakes where I've just fallen straight into relationships with generally pretty terrible men.
Yeah.
And then you fall in too deep and then it's very difficult to get out again. And so I consciously make the decision to take my time, which is why that conversation didn't come up. That conversation wasn't going to come up until April, May time, which is, you know, it's just dreadful timing that it happened right before that conversation. And I guess I don't, and you've made the point very well, like women and men are wired differently. I think you're completely right that men probably can separate their emotions from their sex. I think women can too.
They can.
I think that, you know, we've had conversations before, like I am quite sexually liberal, like I'm happy to have one night stands if it's like consensual, we've all had good conversations and whatever.
Sure.
But when I'm in a relationship, I don't have that desire.
So because here's the thing, like, because you said that it was only at that point that you would have wanted him to be physically exclusive to you. So then I'm like, so if it's around the same time, I understand you having a falling out of that happening, but then to end things over that.
It was also someone he was working with and was going to be working with till the end of his contract in October. I was like, there's no way I can deal with that. There's no way I can deal with you continuing to work away from me.
Okay.
Long distance, having slept with someone you're working with. There's...
Okay. Oh, so it was a distance thing.
So he was touring. So we were not seeing each other as often as we wanted to because...
I see what you're saying.
And so that's why I was taking my time, because I was like, I need to build trust up with you because it's long distance. And then he did the one thing that would completely trash my trust in him, which is sleep with someone he's working with while he's away long distance.
So and I'm gonna challenge you, not because I don't understand where you're coming from, because I do, but I want to see if this situation came up again, how it could have maybe been different. Did you like and trust him enough that if you had got into a relationship, let's say in February, do you think he would have done that?
No, I don't think he would have done it.
And do you think he told you because he wanted to hurt you, or do you think he told you because he cares about you?
I think he told me because he cares about me.
So then why did you end it?
Because partially ego.
Okay.
I'll admit that, right? Yeah. I'll admit that. But also, like, let's get...
Because the thing is, he didn't have to tell you.
He didn't have to tell me.
And he didn't do anything wrong. That eye twitch. She's like, well...
Didn't do anything wrong, huh? No.
I'm not saying what he did was respectful or tasteful.
Yes, I agree. He didn't technically do anything wrong.
Right.
But, anyway. But no, I completely see what you're saying. I ended it with him because I knew that I wasn't going to... I said I didn't want to speak to him anymore. I got really upset with him. And then I found out a week later that he'd slept with her again. A few years later. Again, totally within his rights to do that. He's not done anything wrong. Did I then at that point go, I cannot see it?
Is this after you told me you didn't want to talk to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. So again, he's completely within his rights to do that. And I think had that not happened... there might have been a chance for the door to have been reopened and me make another go of it. But the moment I knew that he'd continued to sleep with her, I was like, mug.
I don't think...
And that's how I felt. That's how
understand.
I felt. Like, because, again, he was giving it, I don't even really know her. Like, we'd barely even spoken. I'm like, you've been on a contract since February. You've barely spoken to your work colleague who you've just happened to have sex with. I don't buy it. And that might just be me being a distrusting woman, but I didn't buy it. And unfortunately for him, I have had very not great guys treat me pretty badly. And it does make me more wary. It does make me more mistrusting. And that is my issue that I'm trying to resolve.
Of course, we all have our things.
And it was a boundary that was just crossed. And at that point for me, like, I could try and persevere with it. But should I have to? When there might be a man out there who will give me more respect and not do... Yes, he was in the right, sure. But was he respectful? No. And do I deserve a man that is respectful? Hell fucking yes. So
I agree, but I also think, and this isn't even for the men, this is for yourself.
Yeah.
If you have expectations of how you want him to act with something specific, you have to communicate that to him.
And I completely agree.
Because one thing for me, right, like when I'm in a relationship, there are certain rules that I just won't. When I say rules for myself, as in, so like I have a couple of friends who are women, and sometimes they'll come over with a couple of other guys, whatever. And if they stay, I'll never stay in the same bed with them.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Even if and there's one or two who female friends of mine who are like my sisters. Like nothing would ever happen, but especially when I'm in a relationship, I wouldn't be in a bed with them because that's disrespectful to my relationship. I feel because I wouldn't want her to do the same thing. Yeah. But that's something that we communicate. about.
Okay.
Because, for example, like, so my ex-girlfriend, you know, she was a salsa dancer. So she was salsa with guys, you know, when she go out
yeah,
all
of
the time,
course.
all that, right? And that's what she loved to do. That was her thing. Now, for me, that was okay because that's just her thing. I didn't see that as disrespectful.
Yeah.
Some other guys may see that as disrespectful to their relationship.
Yeah.
So the only way you can tell the difference, whether it's okay for yours, is to communicate these things.
Completely.
And I think, if I'm going to be honest, I think I understand why. I think the reason he slept with her again is because he thought it was over with
Yeah,
you.
completely.
Do you know what I mean?
Completely.
And I think, because I'm thinking from the guy's perspective, I'm like, okay, you're seeing this girl, you really like her, you slept with someone else, you didn't do anything wrong. What? You didn't have to tell her. But then he told you. And I know this might sound weird, but I think he told you because he wanted something serious with you.
I don't know.
And I think, because if I'm honest, if he didn't want something serious with you, he wouldn't have felt the way he did, and two, he definitely wouldn't have told you.
Yeah, but even, and this is another thing. This is more general conversation, and it's definitely not just about him. Also, disclaimer: like, I have no bad feelings towards him now. Of
course.
Like, if you are ever watching this, we're cool. But like,
of course.
like, it's just for me, like, trying to pull this apart, and I think we're kind of moving on to something new here.
Yeah,
but
go
like,
for it.
I think I'd have felt more like I would that you're. Sorry, let me rewind.
Yeah.
I'd agree with what you were saying about him maybe having feelings for me, and that's why he's told me, because it shows a level of honesty and maturity to go, hey, I have messed up. I have done this. The way he dealt with it wasn't good. He has admitted himself he's not a very emotional guy. He finds it really hard to open up emotionally. And he texted me to tell me. And within the same message was like, anyway, so I've got day off on Friday. So what should we do on Friday? I was like, hold on, you're dropping a nuclear bomb and then asking me what plans we have on Friday. And it's like it hadn't registered to him or it had registered to him, but he just didn't know how to deal with it. So it was just kind of like,
Sure.
sweeping it. And I think this is like another thing. Women, generally speaking, we're quite emotional creatures. We're quite communicative creatures as it is. Although I do admit I should have communicated my expectations. Thank you, Kit. Okay. But I do think that men struggle communicating their emotions and expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that I wish men would do more. I think men would be generally happier if they spoke about their emotions more, even just amongst their friends. Because
I think they do amongst their friends.
do you reckon?
Yeah, they do. I think men tend to share their emotions with their guy friends when girls aren't around. Even bringing one girl in to change the whole dynamic of the room.
Really?
100%.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like girls' vibes are unshakable.
What do you mean?
Like, Kit, if I had all the girls over for dinner and you came in and joined the conversation wouldn't change. If anything, we'd be like, yes, Kit, give us your opinion on all this stuff we're talking about.
Sure.
Whereas you say, if you were having all the guys having dinner, having a chat, and I walked in, it would stop, right?
I think guys are cautious to being emotionally vulnerable in front of women because they've had some experience with women judging them for it.
Do you think?
Oh, it's very true. Like, and not...
That's so sad, though. That breaks my heart.
I know. But I think as long as we all have a place that we can do that, then I think that's what's important. Because, I also think that sometimes guys are... I've had a friend, and not everyone's like this, but I've had a guy friend who, his dad wasn't in his life, and he opened up to a girl he was seeing her for like 5 or 6 months, and he was like, yeah, this is something about me, whatever, that I've struggled with because my dad's not been there. And at the time, she was like, oh, like, yeah, that's really nice, thank you for sharing that. And about a month later, they got into a huge argument about something.
Right, I can see where this is going.
And she was like, yeah, this is probably because your dad walked out on you. Oh, and so for him, it's like, okay, I'll never share that with a woman ever again. That I feel this way. Now, just because one person did that doesn't mean you should take that approach. I agree. But I think because a lot of guys have either seen this or experienced this, they're very... how, one thing I say is women tend to be more cautious sharing themselves sexually with a guy if they don't know him that well. I
think it's general, but yeah.
Yeah. I think if it's for... compared to guys, I mean, like guys could have sex with a girl within 5 minutes.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? I think for guys, it's the same emotionally. You know, I think it's like,
yeah.
I think, because if I'm honest, if something like that with me, that level of emotional vulnerability only really comes if I'm in a relationship with her and we've been together for a substantial amount of time. But yeah, I wanna move on to something else.
Okay, go.
Real quick. What is? Oh,
Oh God.
here's a good question. Would you call yourself a feminist?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you hesitate?
Because I think that there's this idea that feminists hate women, hate men.
Feminists that hates women? God damn.
Wait, what?
That's a new level.
No, it's very like Freudian of me. That's a real Freudian slip. I think there's this idea that feminists like are militantly hate men and like want men to be beneath us. And I don't know if I agree with that. I also think there's some like. I think as long as we understand that the word feminist in my mind is more about like equity between the sexes.
Do you mean like economic equity? Like
yeah, and just like social equity. You know, and again, this isn't like equality because I don't think that we can be equal, men and women. Just like we've just said, women are emotionally more intelligent creatures. Men can be generally speaking, men generally speaking can be physically stronger creatures, etc., etc.
Sure.
Which is why I think like equality between the sexes potentially can't exist, but equity between the sexes can.
I hear that.
So that's my view of what feminism is.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't have to share this.
Oh God, okay.
But what's one thing you like when being with a man that if you went to like a feminist convention, they would shame you for?
Oh, that's such a juicy question.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. Probably like if a guy does pay for dinner and like, do you know, I actually had an ex and he was awful, but one of the best things he did, and I hate to say this because it's so unfeminist of me, but it's actually really cute though. He went to my friends, asked my dress size, my shoe size, bought me an outfit, dropped it at work, was like, get dressed in this, I'm taking you to dinner here, blah, 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 blah. Went for dinner, went on a date. Now...
What a guy!
What? Yeah, he turned out to be a psychopath, so we won't go into that.
Okay.
But...
Not a guy.
Not a guy. But, yes, loved that. Loved that whole experience.
Why is there a hesitation for you to love that? You should be allowed to love that.
And I did, but there's fundamental issues with it. Okay. No man should tell you what to wear. Ever. Period. But, him having full control over the whole thing, like, is a little bit like, yeah, I'm like the pretty woman.
So
like...
I understand what you're saying. Do you not think that's how you're interpreting it?
Yeah, maybe.
Because
I think that's how a room of feminists would interpret it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I think some women would interpret it as, this is a guy who likes to make a plan. This is a guy who likes to make his woman feel special.
Yeah, and it was a surprise.
And this is a guy who likes to lead.
Yeah.
And a lot of women like men who like to lead.
Yeah, and I did.
So if a guy did that for you today, would you be like, don't try and control me? Or would you be like, I really like that you did that for me?
I think I would like it. I would only
I can see the feminine.
and I would only
in your head right now.
I would only be like a bit wary because of the way that relationship turned out.
Yeah.
And like he was a massive control freak, and like,
how was he a control freak?
Oh, we cannot get into it. It's far too long a conversation.
Okay.
But like, long story short, he was a pathological liar, and I actually mean that.
Okay, first.
And it was crazy.
Okay.
But this was early on in the relationship, so like I was just like, yeah, he just likes to lead. He's just, you know, a gentleman who's like wants to like take control. I was like, yeah. Turns out it was a lot darker than that. But and so I think that yes, actually I would like that. If that bled into oh, please don't wear that, I don't think you look good in that outfit. If it bled into, no, you can't pay for dinner, only the man pays for dinner, then I'd be like, if that's a one-off thing we're doing, great.
So it's like you like that foundation, but you want it to be flexible.
Completely.
I think that's fair.
I think that's what everything should be. Like, I don't think that men should always pay for the first date. I don't think that women should always be in the kitchen.
Yeah, of course. I think one thing that we have to understand is that there's something called the weakness of strength.
Okay.
right? And this book I was reading last year, and it's that something that we can really love about someone under different circumstances, it can actually be a weakness of theirs.
Sure.
So I think what I mean is, for example, so a common thing, it's like genius and insanity are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So the kind of, let's say, you want a guy who's incredibly ambitious, incredibly driven, right? That can be very attractive because of the kind of character that builds, maybe the economic standing, a lifestyle he lives. But then the other side of the coin is that he's going to prioritize his work over you.
Yeah.
He's going to prioritize his purpose over you.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to sometimes understand that this may be something that I really like about someone.
Yeah.
But then as long as you're willing to accept the other side of the coin. And I think sometimes we don't think about the other side of the coin.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So like it doesn't. So here's the thing. Like I'm not saying this is okay, but it doesn't surprise me that he found out your shoe size, dress size, bought you a dress, delivered it to you, said this is what you're wearing, this is what we're gonna be. He did all that, and then you say he's controlling. That doesn't surprise me.
No.
It doesn't surprise me.
No. And it shouldn't have surprised me either, but I was young and naive.
Yeah, of course.
And it was exciting. And I think now that I'm older and wiser, I can see through the rose-tinted glasses a little bit better. And like you say, like I am attracted to ambitious men, but I am aware and have seen how that can translate into no, work is more important. No, I want to do this. I cannot make time for you for this. I have to do this. And like you say, that can actually also be quite unattractive. And so it's finding that balance of, I think as well, like your priorities change as you get older. Sure. Like I'm in my early 30s now. Yeah. And so whereas when I was 25, I was chasing the super ambitious, like go-getters.
Yeah.
I'm more about that slow, easy life now. Like, sure. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I want, to have good economic standing in my life and stuff, but I can contribute to that. But I also want to...
So let me ask you a question. Does it matter to you a man's economic standing? Does it matter to you like his financial capability?
No, if it doesn't, if they have aspirations though.
So like if he has ambition.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
If he has ambition, you mean, or
not necessarily ambition, right? If he is I don't know, but say he's only earning 20k a year, right now, but he's also got plans to eventually, he's bought a plot of land or something and he wants to build a house and sell it or something, or he's
okay, so you do care, you just don't care, it doesn't have to be now, but as long as he can get there.
Yeah, but I'm also that person though, like right now I'm not earning a ton of money, but I'm currently doing coding courses because I think I might have a career change into tech one day, and I want to be earning good money. So it's like, it's not about their current economic standing, but it's like, do you both want to grow yourselves and your futures together in the same way? I think that's important. Some people don't want that. I personally do. I want to grow my current wealth or whatever, and I want to be able to provide for children if I have them. I want to be able to go on nice holidays when I'm a bit older. Or
could you not be the main provider of of a relationship? As in, so like you said, like if a guy's earning like 20,000 a year right now, right? You meet a guy, you really like who he is and stuff. That's what he's earning, and that's where he's gonna stay.
Yeah.
And anything extra, you're footing the bill. Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I mean, that all depends on like every other factor though, doesn't it? Like,
well, I'm saying like he's the personality that you want.
I think, and it's not about his money.
You're allowed to say no.
I
wouldn't choose him. You're allowed to say no.
It's about like, if we're not both aligned on where we want to get to, if you're happy staying in one place and not improving, maybe it's an ambition thing. I just want an ambitious man. No, I'm joking. But it's not.
Well, yeah, of course. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're allowed to want an ambitious man.
Yeah, but I also don't think that there's anything wrong with earning not a lot of money. Like, I don't earn a lot of money right now.
Yeah, but at least for you, it's not okay for him to stay there. He has to have ambition to grow that.
Yeah, but I think that's like, these are like the fundamental values of like your life, right? If you
guys don't care about that in women though.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Because I think, and we're talking generally, but I think men and women, we look for different things.
Sure. Okay.
And that seems to be something that women have shown to consistently look for in a man. And I think sometimes they think that's what men look for, but it's actually not.
Yeah. Oh no, I would say that I'm almost 100% sure that men are not looking for it. If anything, men find it a little bit scary that I already own my property and have traveled the world and I do a lot of stuff on my own and I'm very like some men find that a bit like, oh, you own a house. I don't own a house. Like, do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I think some men can find that a little bit not threatening. That's too big a word, but a little bit like
Or intimidating.
a little bit.
A
little bit.
Yeah, I
Not that I ever wave around like, yeah, I own my house. Like, I don't do that. But like when people find out I live on my own, I have my own place. Like
it's impressive because most people under the age of 40 nowadays,
it's hard.
That it isn't.
Yeah.
I think while there may be a very small, there may be a percentage of men who may find that intimidating. I'll be honest, most men just don't care.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Like they wouldn't
like
care.
that.
Like if you said that you work at McDonald's and you live at home, that's not going to write you off to them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think for guys, it would write them off for a lot.
Yeah,
of women.
I can see that. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think it would.
Yeah.
But only because I know that I want to grow my life and like what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you're happy just staying where you are, you're probably not for me. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like I know people that like literally live on a farm. They like run a farm and like have lived there their whole lives and they're very happy people. And I'm like, that is a beautiful life you have. I don't want that one.
Yeah. I understand that.
You know?
You ready for our next question?
Yeah, go.
So speaking of, we were talking about how, generally men and women look for different things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think men look for in a woman?
Oh God. I think.
And we're talking general.
Okay,
obviously.
we're talking general.
This is generalizations.
I
Okay,
think
you're talking to a broad audience.
They're physical. The physical attributes of a woman and their preferences physically will be at the top of the list.
Yep.
I think.
Not saying she has to be perfect, but I think he just has to be attracted to you.
Yeah, and that's
just
what I
it
mean.
is.
It's like whatever his version of physical peak is at the top. That doesn't mean that it's...
Not even peak. She doesn't have to be peak.
Okay, fine.
He just has to find her. He has to be attracted to her.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like that is probably the priority.
Yes.
I also think... You're not going to like this.
It's okay. No,
I
what you
think that generally, men are looking for a woman that will agree with them.
You mean like submissive?
Now, there's a difference between being submissive and being a woman that consistently agrees with her man.
Yeah, I don't think
doesn't show an opinion.
Yeah, I don't think men want a yes woman.
Okay.
But I do think they want a cooperative woman.
Oh God, that makes my skin crawl. Kit.
Yeah, I know, it's true.
But I think it's true. Like,
it's true, yeah.
I literally went on a date recently with someone, and on his Hinge profile, there's like prompts, right? And it was something like, "We'll get on if," and he wrote, "You agree with everything I say," and I was
disagree with that. That's because you're not going to grow. You want to choose a partner, but I think so here's the thing. I would say, let me rephrase. It's not men want a cooperative woman. I would say a man who is going to lead in his relationship. That's what he's going to.
Okay,
look for.
fine, sure.
It's that kind of man. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, and I think that is okay. So maybe not expectations, but my view of that is a little bit extreme. But sure, that's interesting to know.
Not extreme though. Tell me what you think, because I think that might be triggering for a lot of modern women. I think.
Yeah.
And I think I understand why, but what's your response to that?
I think, well, it just ties into the age-old misogyny of like life, doesn't it? Women sit there, be quiet, be in the kitchen, don't talk back to your man, right? I'm not saying that's what this is, but that is what society has been in very recent history. And so we're in a period of time where women are trying very hard to, sometimes too hard, to be heard. And I think like it can be triggering to hear that men do just want a woman that will cooperate.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do do you want a guy who is strong, confident, capable to lead?
In the relationship?
Yes.
Yeah. I do.
Okay. If he's going to lead, you know you need to follow.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. So the thing is, I think and I said, if that's the kind of man you want, not everyone wants that, because some women want to lead in their relationship.
Yeah, agreed. I'm
right?
not that woman.
But if you want a man who is confident, capable, has leadership qualities that you admire, and that's what you find attractive, then he is going to look for a woman who is going to cooperate with him. That it's like I say, it's not about being a yes woman, but who's going to be. It's like being on a team.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be a team,
Right?
but he's going to be the captain.
Okay, but is there a world where you're both leading?
No, you can't have two captains on a ship. You can't, because let me ask you this,
Well,
right?
it's a partnership. You just said
It is
it's a team.
It is a partnership, but that's why there's one president, there's one prime minister. You can't. That's why, when companies merge. Have you ever wondered why one owns 51%?
Right. Yeah, I get
Right,
that.
because here's the thing. You're in a dire situation with you and your man, and you've got your kids. Yeah. You're being chased by Putin and his Russians.
Right.
Right?
Very extreme.
You come to a crossroads.
Yeah.
You say go right, he says go left. Which way do you go?
I don't know. If I'm saying go right, I want to go right for a reason.
Yeah, but if he says go left, he wants to go left for a reason too.
Yeah, I guess I'd go with him because it would all go together. He won't follow me, will he?
And this is now here's the thing. If you were going to be the leader in the relationship, right, and
Yeah.
it came to that, then you're making that call.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Maybe I'm searching for a unicorn. But don't get me wrong, I want to be in a relationship with a strong leading man. Gosh,
Yeah.
strong leading man. But I also want to have say in the relationship.
Of course.
And I want to be able to challenge my partner.
Of course.
And them to want to be challenged.
And the intelligent, strong, capable leaders who are men, that is something they admire in a woman.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want him to lead, if you want him, the whole thing, because here's the thing, I think this is what, because some of my clients are very strong, capable, independent women, right? And the analogy I use is like being a captain on a ship.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of men around them, they're mid to late, either late 30s, early 40s, very successful. They're like, oh, the men around me are not choosing me. They're choosing different women. And I don't understand why. And it's like, she's demonstrating herself to be a captain.
Yes.
If he's the captain of his own ship, he's not looking for a captain.
Right.
He's looking for a co-captain, or I'm trying to think of a different. He's looking for a lieutenant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's on his ship. He's a captain of his ship. He's off the shore, and he's looking for someone on his ship. She's screaming, say, "Hey, I'm a captain with my own ship. We can be captains together." He's like, "That's not what I'm looking for,
I don't
babe."
want a second boat, babe.
Yeah, he's like, "Look, you would be great to work with. So as a partner, right, as a work colleague or for career, whatever, you're great. But to be in my ship, this ship already has a captain.
Sure.
Meanwhile, there might be another guy who's like, oh, I'm a lieutenant. I'm not a captain, I'm a lieutenant. He's like, that's the one I want."
Yeah, but so I definitely do want to be in a relationship with someone that leads.
Okay.
I know that about myself.
Okay.
However, I am successful. I am confident. I have a lot going on. I look like a captain of a damn ship. I am, really.
Yeah.
But so how do I then find someone who's going, you've got a really great smaller boat there on your captain. Why don't you join my bigger boat and be lieutenant?
So it's not...
Do you know what I mean?
I completely get it. And look, it's not saying that women shouldn't be successful. They absolutely should.
Yeah.
But it's about how you are when you are dating with men that you want.
Interesting. Okay.
Because, the example I give is Taylor Swift is, outside of Beyonce and Rihanna, she's arguably the most successful female artist who's ever lived. But she's never had problem being with men, ever. And she's one of the most successful women on the planet.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas you take someone like Charlize Theron, right? I've seen her in interviews, like, she struggles to date guys.
Yeah.
And she's incredibly successful. And she thinks it's because men are intimidated by her success. And more often it's not. It's funny because I've had it with my clients or women I've spoken to as well. The strong, independent, very career go-getter women, they're like, they keep attracting weak men.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And actually what it is, it's not that they're attracting weak men. It's that they're attracting men who are in their feminine.
Right.
Being strong, being the strong, capable leader, confident go-getter.
Yeah.
We're all comprised of masculine and feminine traits.
Yeah, completely.
Right? That's us sitting in our masculine.
Yeah.
If that's what you're sitting in when you're dating, you're going to attract feminine men.
Interesting.
Because masculine and feminine, they complement each other.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said, we all have both qualities inside us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We all have both qualities. So if you're a person, man or woman, if you're a person who sits in your masculine, you're going to attract the feminine. And if you're a person, and I'm just talking in dating, I'm not saying necessarily in life, because, traditionally, being masculine in your career really helps, depending what career you have, right? Whereas if you're a person who sits in their feminine, you're going to attract someone who's masculine. And what I think we see a lot is you have a lot of women who maybe when it comes to dating with men, they sit very much in their masculine. So then they don't actually attract the masculine man they want, and they attract the feminine men, and those are the men that they call weak.
Gosh, that's such an interesting way of looking at it. I've never thought about it that way.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And also, I feel it's bad. Like, men aren't weak just because they're feminine, though. Like, if they're in their feminine energy. And I also don't think, like...
I think a lot of women just call them weak.
Yeah, I think that's so harsh, though. I hate it. Well, I think it's harsh. Like, none of us are weak, right? Like, but it's a very interesting way of looking at it. I've never looked at it that way.
And I think it's... And like I said, I've... So most recently, this happened this year. Most recently, one of my clients, she found a really, really great guy, right? And was like on her level. She's how old is she? She's 40, early 40s. And we've been working with each other for a year. And at first, when I was talking to her about all this stuff, of course, she was like, "I don't have to be that for a man." Blah 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 blah. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Look, is what you're doing getting you the result that you want?" She was like, "No, it's not." I was like, "Okay, I'll tell you what. Try what I'm saying."
Yeah.
For 6 months.
See how it goes.
And I say 6 months because if you're not used to it, you have to build the habits in being like this with men. And I'm saying only like this with men, not at work. Because at work, you're killing it. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Being like this within dating and relationships and stuff. And after that 6 months, she got used to it, right? She started attracting the kind of prospects that she wanted. I even got to the point that those guys, I remember she was telling me, that those guys, she would tell them what she does and where she was, and they'd be so surprised. And it's not like guys don't want that, but that's like a bonus. Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, and not surprised in the sense of, oh, you're feminine, you can't be successful, but like, yo, you're being so warm and nurturing this with me, but then you have this other side to you, that you're a fucking boss, that I know if I leave, you can take care of the home. Yeah. Like.
Do you think that she's then sort of putting on a front, though?
No.
Is she presenting a version of herself that's not real? How long can she maintain that?
I understand. I don't think it's that she's presenting something that's not real. I think she's presenting a side to herself that she's not used to showing.
Sure, okay.
Because we all have the inners. It's like, because you could take the baddest boss babe. But when she has a child, she's holding a 3-month-old baby. She's being loving, sensitive. She's not like, come on, you need to go out there, She's not being like that with the baby. We all have...
Shut up.
Right.
Yeah.
We all have that in us. Men have it in us, women have it in us.
Yeah.
And I think that the difference that I see, that we observe between maybe the kind of women who attract the kind of men that they want and the kind of women who aren't attracting that yet, that's one of the biggest difference that I see that makes the difference.
Interesting.
And then you can choose, and then you attract the quote-unquote more feminine guys, then you attract the more masculine guys, right? And then everything in the middle, and you can go, okay, that might not work for me, this might not work for me, but this works for me.
Yeah.
But I think what's happened is a lot of just especially strong, successful women, are only attracting one side. And I think, like I said, it's just because when it comes to men, they just sit in their masculine.
Yeah, but also, I think as well, like I was just saying, like where society has always been so misogynistic, a lot of women have to fight really hard to sit in this world and be successful, and therefore have to sit, like you say, in work environment in their masculine.
I understand
And therefore that bleeds into your life because you have to be heard, you have to sit in that place.
I completely understand that.
So I can kind of relate hard to that, actually. It's a really interesting way of looking at it.
I completely understand, like, you have to, if you live in the world where you have to fight, especially extra hard, then yeah, you're gonna nurture those masculine sides of you to survive and get ahead.
Yeah.
Right? Completely understand that. But then if you want one thing,
Yeah, you've got to try and, yeah.
it's like, if this is what you want, this is what it takes to get it. And then you just decide whether you want to do that or not. Does that make sense?
It does.
What's something you want to bring to the table? I asked you something.
Okay. What was my other question I was gonna ask you? Okay, yeah, no, this sort of goes back to like what we were chatting about at the beginning.
Yes.
What do you think women should do to meet men?
To meet men?
Yeah. What should women be doing rather than us relying on men coming up to us at the pub or swiping on dating apps?
Make a move.
Do you think? Yeah. Okay. How does a woman make a move then?
How do you want a man to approach you?
Well, I said earlier, didn't I? I was like, just come up very politely. Don't ruin your evening.
Do that to him.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? Because guys aren't used to being approached. One, he won't be expecting it. And two, they, even if a guy's not into you, he's not going to react distastefully to it.
See, I just...
He's not going to be like, ugh, get away from me.
No, true, but men are cruel. I literally, just the other night, I was out on Friday night, and I was out at this like open air cafe bar thing, and it was full of your Clapham bros and like girls with like long blonde hair and lip fillers and stuff, and like specific types of people all in one place. I don't generally fit into that crowd, but I was having a good time and like whatever. Lots of very handsome, beautiful men and women around. And I'm going up to the bar, and this guy stops me and goes, "Hi." And I just was like, "Oh, hi." Like, shake his hand, and he went, "Yeah, I'm taken, actually."
Okay.
I was like, and you're like so shocked. And I walked off, and I was like, and I came back to my group of friends, and I was like, "You're right." And I was like, I don't really understand why. And again, it's just him being a prick.
Yes,
but
he was just being a douche.
That behaviour is what women see more of men doing than the respectful, "I'm so sorry, thank you, I actually have a girlfriend," but I don't see that as often as I see that behaviour.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How many women do you think actually approach men?
Not many.
Okay. How many men do you think approach women?
Nowadays, more than women, but like still not many.
I'd say it's less than 5%.
Yeah.
Right. So what ends up happening is you're judging all of your experience based on the very small percentage of men who actually have the arrogance to make that kind of approach.
Right, yeah.
The majority of men don't have that level of... The majority of men don't either have that level of confidence or don't want to risk.
Yes.
Right? So... Because here's the thing, if you approached 100 guys, I'm not saying you should do this, but if you approached 100 guys... It's a
mission, I'm going to
right,
do
it. Do it. Maybe you should do it. If you approach 100 guys, be like, "Hi, I know you don't know me, but I really liked your energy and vibe. I'd love if we could go for a drink." To 100 guys, 98 of them are going to respond positively.
Yeah, I suppose. I can't see that going too badly other than it feeling horrific to do it.
Yeah, because the thing is, they're always like, you have guys who maybe you don't want you, but you have guys who want you. Like, you have options if you just might not want them.
Sure.
Right? So even if you approach, and this is what I'm saying, like, most guys are going to respond positively because most guys get zero attention. Most guys don't get any attention.
Well, they do, but they don't realise they're getting attention.
Well, what I mean is, like, most... Okay, he's laughing because he knows what I'm going to ask.
Oh, no.
Okay, how many single guys do you think are out here dating, having sex?
To be honest...
Like a percentage, if you're going to guess.
50%.
50%.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about 15%, 15 to 20%.
What are out dating?
At single guys who are actually going on dates and having sex.
15%.
15 to 20%, yeah.
How'd you get that figure? Like, where's that come from?
Okay. Have you ever heard of something called the Pareto principle?
No.
Okay. So it basically means where 20% of mass is responsible for 80% of the production. So
Right.
what I mean is this. Fun fact, 20% of suns in our galaxy hold 80% of the galaxy's mass.
Right.
20% of cities in the world hold 80% of the world's population.
Right, yeah.
20% of authors are responsible for 80% of books sold.
Right, okay, I see.
20% of actors get 80% of the jobs.
Yes. You're
So
not wrong.
In dating, it's 20% of the guys are sleeping with about 80% of the women. Because if you think about it, like, you know, a lot of women have a list. 6 foot, this much, this much. This long list that women have, do you know how many men actually tick those boxes?
Sure, not many.
It's like 10, 15% maybe. So, because if I ask you, okay, out of 50 guys who approach you, 50 random guys, old, young, fat, slim, out of 50 guys, right? How many of them would you go, oh yeah, actually, I kind of like his vibe and energy enough that I'd go on a date with you, out of 50?
Probably like 5.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Most women are like that.
Yeah.
Out of 50 guys that approach them, maybe they'd give 5 a chance. But what ends up happening is that the same 5 guys that you would give a chance are the same 5 guys that she would give a chance. The same 5 guys she would give a chance, that she would give a chance. Now, you might choose a different kind of 5.
Okay.
But there's a lot of crossover.
Right, yeah.
Right? So what ends up happening is you get the majority of women
On this tiny
gaining
group.
their experience from the very small percentage of men who get all the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you get a guy and he has a lot of sexual abundance, he's not going to give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you have the majority of men get little to zero attention. And there's some really great men in this pool, but they just don't get looked at.
Okay, and so what you're saying is if I want to get in that pool, I've got to start going up to people in bars myself.
Well, I'm saying that there are a lot of guys who probably, you know, you're successful, attractive women. There are a lot of guys who you would catch their eye, but that are invisible to you. There were a lot of guys who maybe wanted to approach you or want to say hi. Maybe he did approach you, but then you friend zoned him. Do you know what I mean?
Friend zone is a scary place.
It's a serious place, boy. It's a serious place.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I said to you, like, you know, if I said to you that if you could only date one new guy every 6 months, you might have more patience for the guy that you do date.
Yeah.
And actually, you may give yourself more of a chance to connect with him on something. Because back in the day, it was the same back in the day, but the only difference is they had less opportunities.
Yeah.
So they was like, okay, well, I need to, if I'm going to let this go, I need to really make sure that I cannot make it work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And it's not about trying to force something that can't be coherent. But I think the abundance gives the illusion that there's so many more options. So then we let go of things more quickly.
It's so interesting that you say that though, because like, a lot of the time now, women tend to go to their friends or couples and be like, do you know someone? Rather than going on dating apps, because like, as I said, dating apps are... But almost always the answer is, I know a single guy, but I just don't think he's good enough, or I don't think he's right for you, or he's definitely not looking for a relationship right now. And it's like, so where have all the good men gone? No, I'm joking.
Well,
but like, where are they? Where are they? Where are you?
Shall I tell you? Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does a guy's height matter to you?
Height. So obviously I'm 5'10", disclaimer. I'm happy to date someone that's 5'9", 5'10". Prefer to date a taller guy.
Okay.
But I'm tall.
So you got a guy who's 5'10".
Yeah.
You've got who's average looking. You've got a guy who's 6'3", great shape. Who are you choosing?
The 6'3", great shape.
Okay. So the guy who's actually a really good guy, he just doesn't get a chance with you.
Yeah.
So they're there, but you're more likely choosing the guy that other girls are going to choose too.
Yeah, of course. But like,
I understand, but I'm just
so
trying to help you understand.
Yeah, I get that, but like, you're basically saying to me like, so we've got like Leonardo DiCaprio or Postman Pat.
Yep.
And you're basically telling me to go for Postman Pat over Leonardo DiCaprio.
If you want,
Why Postman Pat, by the way? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. We love Postman Pat. Shout out to Postman Pat and his cat. I would say that if a relationship is what you're looking for,
Yeah.
then you need to start prioritizing a man who is willing to commit to you instead of a man who
Looks cute.
yes,
Yeah,
who gets your juices flowing.
I mean, you're not wrong. And you're actually not wrong. Like, you're actually not wrong. But then, like, they still prove themselves to sometimes just be idiots. As per what we were talking about earlier.
No one's perfect. But like I said, like, and,
no, you're right,
you know,
you're
I
right.
don't, and I don't bring it back to this, but, and, you know, if it wasn't right for you, it's not right for you.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
But, like, with the guy you told us about, for me, and I'm seeing it from a guy's perspective, I'm like, he told you so he cares about you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, maybe he did something that maybe wasn't tasteful and you could have seen it disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Okay? And maybe, yeah, you could have communicated your expectations to him.
Agreed.
But if you've been seeing each other for several months, he was going to spend a week with you and he told you that and he didn't even have to tell you that. It's just my opinion. I think you let that go too soon.
Yeah.
I think that, because I'll be honest, I don't know any guys, if they're not in a relationship and they sleep with another girl, they ain't telling no one. They're not telling the girl.
I almost wish you hadn't told me though.
Guys, never tell.
Never tell.
Just never.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay,
Unless,
so
of course, you know.
let me ask you this.
Oh, God.
Because even though he didn't do anything wrong, right? But you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Would you have rather that he didn't tell you, but you obviously know that if and when you got into a relationship, that he was always going to be faithful?
Yeah.
There you have
I'd
it.
rather have not known, readers, viewers, this is probably controversial and I've got mug written on my forehead.
Not at all.
But I'd rather have not known, the week after, decided we got into a relationship, and then even if 6 months down the line we'd been in a relationship and he goes, I really need to tell you something, it's been burning on my soul. I slept with someone when we were seeing each other and we hadn't got into a committed relationship, I'd have gone, okay. But
I'll be honest, yeah, I think he fucked up with you. Like, he shouldn't have told you.
yeah,
He shouldn't
have told me.
He shouldn't have
It would
told
have been fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been icky if, in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah, I
that would have
understand
been icky.
Yeah.
So I kind of realised why he told me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's like...
hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
But we move.
We move. What do you think men look for in a woman to take seriously?
Oh, gosh. Oh, so like...
What's the difference between a woman he's going to see casual and see more serious?
I think... Gosh, that's such an interesting question. I think for men, it is... Do I see... Oh, maybe not, though. Maybe this might be what I think I want them to think.
Go on.
Do I see her being a good mother?
Very true.
Okay, I'm glad I got that right.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I see her being a good mother? Only if they want kids, though, obviously. Like, some men don't want kids and stuff, but I think generally.
True.
Generally. Yeah, do I see her being a good mother? Does she take care of herself?
Yeah.
And, like, is she respectful with things like money, her friends, and her family?
Yeah.
I would say other things.
Yeah, you hit nail on
I
the
also
head.
think they're exactly the same things that women think about men in those situations.
As in what women...
I think that's the same could be said for what women want from a man in a serious relationship.
Yeah, I think those are like intrinsic values, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
What would you say it is then? Like, what did I miss?
I don't think you missed anything. I think that, like, if a guy's looking to take someone seriously, like, and build a life with them, like, he definitely looks for those things, I think. I think men want to know that she is a sexually selective.
I knew this was going to come up. I've watched this video on your channel about body count.
Yeah, like, no one should be judged for it, but it is something that men think about.
Interesting. I just find that so fascinating, though.
Why? And different men have different standards.
Yeah, right, okay. I'm going to do an analogy here.
Go for it.
You've got woman A, you've got woman B.
Yes.
And they're both cooking chicken.
Okay. Love me some chicken.
Oh, yeah. Woman A
Yep.
hasn't cooked chicken very often.
Yep.
So she only seasons it with salt and pepper.
Yes.
Or the recipes that you give her.
Okay.
Woman B has cooked chicken quite a few times, so
Yep.
she knows to add a little bit of Cajun, a little bit of peri-peri. She knows how to make this maybe a little bit more interesting,
Yep.
but also she knows that she will finish that chicken every time. That's very important. Plus, recipes from you.
Okay.
Why is this more appealing?
In that example, if I'm looking for a chef of like a
Oh,
restaurant.
I never. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, okay. In that analogy, the other one's more appealing. But
Sure.
let me give you this analogy.
Sure.
Analogy off. You have one guy.
Yeah.
You have one guy who you know has gambled a lot
Yeah.
with their money.
Okay.
You have one guy who hasn't gambled a lot with his money,
Right.
or if he has, only once or twice,
Okay.
right? Or rather, it's not gamble, it's making investments. But
Yeah.
hasn't gambled.
Okay.
You have $1 million to use to try and gain money. Are you going to give it the one who's got a history of gambling or the one that has a history
Yeah,
of
but
investing?
what have you got to lose by having sex with someone who's had sex more times than someone else? You're not losing anything. That analogy sucks.
Okay, maybe that one does.
Because what are you putting at risk? What are you putting at risk?
Okay. I'm reluctant to use this analogy, but my producer insists I use it.
Let's go.
A key that opens many locks is a master key.
Yeah.
A lock that opens to any key is just a shit lock.
Right.
Yeah. Who are the gatekeepers to sex, men or women?
Women.
Right. There you go.
That still doesn't really answer the question.
The reason it's different
Yeah.
is because women choose who have sex.
In good cases, yes.
Yeah. As in, it's generally the guy's always up for it. And so the girl's like, maybe I say no to you, no to you, yes to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it is the men who have to prove themselves in order to have sexual intimacy with a woman.
Sure.
Okay. So if he's proved himself with many women, he's seen as the Don.
Yeah.
Right. If a woman has accepted hundreds of men, right, she's not seen as the investment to get her physical intimacy, right, is seen as being lower because more people have been able to do it.
Yeah, but that still doesn't correlate. Like, a man can have sex with 100 women, a woman can have sex with 100 men. You've both still just had sex with 100 people. You've both still got the same value.
Well, it's different because men and women look for different things.
Why is it different?
Okay. Let's get
Why is
into.
it different?
Okay. I didn't want to bore you with the instinctual thing.
Yeah.
But
I think I've heard this on another video. You said
might
it's like a
have.
biological thing that men, only want to know that the woman's going to not have sex with other men or something. If he, like...
Okay, it is instinctual in males of 98% of species to want to ensure paternity to the offspring. The child comes out of you, so you know it's yours.
Yes.
I don't know it's mine.
Sure, okay.
So if I want to ensure that my genes make it to the next generation, it's in my best interest to choose a female who is not sexually promiscuous.
But that shouldn't matter. If you're in a relationship, you're not going to be sexually promiscuous. What does my past history of sex have anything to do with that? It's nothing to do with paternity. Because at the end of the day, if that was the case, why are you going around sleeping with 17 different women?
Because
Why
the
are you
same
having sex
way.
with a condom on?
Oh, you should. Everyone should.
Well, you should. Yeah,
Everyone
you
should.
should. But if we're talking biology and sex is about
We're talking about
eternity,
hold on. We're talking about long term, not short term. So
Yeah.
okay. So have you ever been involved with guys where okay, I would take you seriously long term, and you're just fun.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Guys do the same thing.
Yeah.
So the girl who is, for example, slept with 100 guys, right?
But why does she have to be the one that's not been taken seriously?
Because there's another one who hasn't done that.
But what if she's the better, more attractive, more going for her? Like
She may have those other things, but I'm just saying this is something that men think about when they want to choose someone long term.
I'm just telling you that I think it's trash.
I understand why, but okay, it's the same thing as saying that you want a guy who's ambitious and you want a guy who's capable to make money, right? Why the hell do women care about that when you make your own money? You shouldn't care about that.
Yeah, but I don't care about it that much that I would stop seeing someone.
No, but you care about it if someone was on 20K and they didn't have any ambition to grow from it.
True, but
Whereas
that's a difference in values, right?
Exactly. It's a different in values. Because the girl
but a difference in value based on me and my choices is different to like.
No, but you'd sleep with a hot, attractive guy who only earns 20K, but you wouldn't choose him long term because you have a different in values, right?
Well, no, it depends on his values.
No, but you said if there was a guy who earns 20K and he didn't have any ambition to grow, you wouldn't choose him long term.
Well, again, generalised, but potentially not. No.
Well, most likely not.
Well, yeah, we don't know that, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying for guys, he may choose the girl who slept with 500 guys, but he most likely won't.
That's his choice. But what I'm trying to get to the crux of is why is that undesirable? Why is that undesirable when you do exactly the same thing as a man?
Because if women are...
sex between
men and women is different.
Can I say why I think it is?
Tell me what you think it is.
I think
yeah.
that men prefer having sex with less sexually promiscuous women because it's easier for them to have the kind of sex that they want to have.
Go on.
And so, as I said about my chicken thing, you can teach her the recipes and she'll learn how to make chicken that way. And she's not tasted chicken very often, so she'll just go with that chicken, not knowing if that chicken is the best chicken she could eat. Whereas woman B over here, she knows when she's going to finish that chicken. And if you are not providing the recipe so that she'll definitely finish her chicken, she'll tell you.
Okay.
And I don't think men like that very much.
I tell you.
Actually, also, generally speaking, don't get me wrong, there are men out there who are actually very open to having conversations about sex with women.
Of course.
Who are very open to having sexual long-term relationships with women who are sexually promiscuous and enjoy having those conversations and exploring and all that kind of thing. But this is the basic version.
I'd even argue that I lean into being one of those men. Good. But I recognise that I'm an exception.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay, it's more... If a guy is not looking for anything serious... Yeah. He's gonna choose the promiscuous one because he's just looking to have fun. He's not choosing the Christian girl.
No, because he's not gonna have fun there.
Right, but when he's looking to have a family, he's choosing the Christian girl.
But what if she's got all the values of being a Christian, but she just likes to have sex?
She's a safer bet for him. It's all about. Think about it this way, right? It's like a gamble. This is how guys see it. It's like, okay, if you choose, let me put it to you this way. Yeah. Let's say for that. The chance of a guy being the father of his kids is relative to how many people she slept with. So if a girl has slept with 100 people,
rubbish though.
Hold on, I'm not saying it is, but what I'm trying to say is this is instinctually how men think.
Well, boys, you've got to reprogram your brains because.
Okay, but 95% of other species also think this way. That's what in the
Where's
pride
that
of.
come from?
Where's that come from?
Yeah, that idea. Like, what's that study come from?
Well, like you see documentaries on animals.
Yeah, of course. Research. But I would love to know.
Look at the animal kingdom. Right. Look at primates, for example, who are our closest cousins.
Yeah.
Right. You get one alpha primate who mates with all the females.
Yeah.
None of the other males get to mate with them, because the reproductive goal for males and females is different. the reproductive goal for males is to have the strongest offspring.
Yes.
How does she do that? She chooses the top guy, which is why there's a top 20% of men having sex with all the women, right? Because they're choosing the top guy, right? For males, the goal is to ensure that the children are his. So it's not about choosing. So in order for him to do that, it's a safer bet that the kids are his if he chooses a female who is more sexually selective, because it's a better bet for him.
But we're not primates.
Well, we're animals. Look, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair.
No.
But I'm saying this does matter to men, and to pretend that it doesn't, you're only going to shoot yourself in the foot.
Sure, but I also think, like, to shame women for being sexually liberated.
You shouldn't shame women.
No, but it's in turn, if men cannot get to grips with the fact that women are sexual creatures as well, there is no hope for us as a species.
No, of course women are sexual creatures, but you can have a woman who's very sexual experienced, but she's only been with 2 people.
Of course. But to think that because a woman's had sex with, say, 30 people, that she's less valuable, just puts way too much credit to...
It's not that she's less valuable. It's just that if a man is looking for a woman long term, right, this is just a factor that contributes into his choice for who he wants to do that with.
Okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you're telling me that if I want to find a long-term partner, I need to go for the average Joe, I need to go for Postman Pat, my message to men is that you all need to stop being silly and stop judging women on their sexual choices. We have lived through hundreds and thousands of years of the dawn of time, I'm sure there was no stress about whether women had sex with other people. But through the church and diminishing women and their ability to speak, have jobs, have money. It's only in this last century, some women we weren't even allowed our own bank accounts without a man signing it off.
Yeah,
so a lot of this, I think, and the fear of it and men's distaste for it comes down to ingrained misogyny so much so that they don't want that to change, because this is their way of maintaining power. That, as I've said before, we're trying to reach gender equity rather than equality. And so if we're going to go for gender equity, then we have to start being liberal about the choices we make, rather than living in the medieval era and thinking that women should be seen, not heard, live in the kitchen and like not have sex with anyone.
So I'm not advocating for any of that. And I'm not saying...
I know you're not.
Yeah, of course. And I agree with everything you just said. In the terms of you shouldn't be shamed for doing anything you want to do. All I'm saying is that the same way that you have different priorities when you're choosing a guy long term and short term, guys have different priorities when they're choosing a guy long term and short term.
Yeah.
The same way you won't choose a guy who's happy on staying on minimum wage for the rest of his life long term. You may have sex with him short term because he's very attractive, but you won't choose him long term if there's another guy, right, who brings more values for what you're looking for long term.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: when we say that guys who are broke ain't got nothing going on, when we say that they don't deserve to get any women, no one bats an eye. No one is saying, no, you know what, ladies? No, you should choose a guy who's happy to be broke and provide for him. You should choose a guy who's on minimum wage and is happy to stay there. You should choose that guy. No one's saying that.
Well, why not? We should be.
Well, you wouldn't.
But that's because my values. As I've said to you before, I know people that do.
So should you be shamed into having different values?
Should I be shamed into having different values?
Yeah.
No. Should I be told to be more open-minded? Yes.
Okay, but you said that you wouldn't choose that. And here's the thing. You're allowed to have your standards.
Yeah.
Right. But men are allowed to have their standards too.
True, but I do think that we should all be more open-minded.
I don't disagree with you, but I think having standards isn't the same as misogyny. Because if you say that, because if I say this, right, if I say I wouldn't take a girl seriously who does porn, right? Because for me, I believe if you share your body with somebody, that should be somebody that you love. Yeah. She has different values to me because she doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So we have different values. We're not compatible.
Do you not think that the man who's only earning 20k and is a broke-ass guy is being unattractive is not also down to internalized misogyny, though?
Say that again.
Him being unattractive because
to women
because he's only earning 20k has no aspirations is also down to internalized misogyny.
So you saying you have internalized misogyny because
Yes.
that's not attractive? No, I don't think it's misogyny.
I think it is.
No.
Because we, as a society, put men here. Men should be the provider. Men should be this. Men should be the ones that are consistently providing money, providing stability, all these sort of things. That is misogyny as well.
No, I think
much as women should be the ones that are quiet in the kitchen.
No.
This is misogyny.
Okay, I agree that misogyny is saying women should be quiet in the kitchen. I agree that is misogyny. But if a woman says she wants a man who's a strong, capable leader who can provide for him and his family, I don't think that's misogyny.
No, I don't think that is. But do we find him unattractive due to internalized misogyny? Yes.
No, I think a lot of women seek stability and security, and they find that attractive in a man who can provide that for them. And a man who can't provide that for them, that is just not a good choice for them. Because here's the thing: a guy who isn't demonstrating that he can provide that doesn't mean that he can't provide that. It's just a bad bet for her. But a guy who already shows that he's there, right? Yeah. That's a better bet for her. So she's more likely to choose him.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it's misogyny if a woman has standards for a man. And I don't think it's misogyny if a man has standards for a woman.
Sure.
You can have different values. And like I said, everyone has, like a very common thing. And it's funny, I'm saying this. I'm an exception to the rule for a lot of these things.
Yeah.
But I can recognize what people choose and what people say they want. Like,
sure, and I agree. I can see that. And I can say to people like, yeah, if that's your choice. Yeah. But do I think there's a lot of double standards that are being held there? Completely.
Of course.
Do I think that we should be changing our perception towards women's sexuality? Yes, I do. I think
it has changed. I think, here's the thing. I don't think anyone's saying, right, or okay, rather, I'm not saying it's okay that anyone should be shamed for their sexuality.
Sure.
Right? I'm going to be the last person to say that.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that some men,
yes,
if they're thinking long term, that they're going to prefer values in other areas. And they're allowed to. Because here's the thing, right? I can do whatever I want, but you don't have to choose me for it.
Yeah, completely agree.
So you can do what you whatever what. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be chosen for it.
No, that's fine.
And it doesn't mean it's internalized.
I just think it's sad that is such a high priority for the vast majority of men, generalized. I think
it's.
I just think it's really disappointing. Do you know what I mean?
I understand that, but one, I would say I don't think it's. Maybe it's something that guys care about, but I think guys care about it less because we live in 2022. Like, it's not like people are looking for virgins, right? And guys definitely aren't looking for virgins.
If you are, fair play, but...
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not happening. And, like I said, different guys have different standards. So some guys are like, yeah, if she slept with 20 people, I'm not taking her seriously. Some guys are like, if she slept with 100 people, I'm not taking her seriously, right? So different guys have different standards. I'm just saying it is something that men think about and care about. Some guys are like, okay, well, as long as she's not slept with more than me, then that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But guys have to accept the harsh reality.
Yeah.
That he has to bring something financially and economically attractive to the table. I just
wonder what it is about it that's like such a turn off though. I know you've said all the biology stuff, but I just think in this day and age it's just so funny to me.
I think it's about trust.
If a guy was like, oh, if she slept with more people than me, then I'm not interested. I'm like, God, why? What if she's the perfect woman?
It's not. I think, if I'm honest, I think for most guys, unless her body count is like outrageously high, it's not going to be a write-off. No, it's not going to be a write-off. Of course
not. It shouldn't be. If you're an intelligent, emotionally intelligent man, you've had these conversations, everything about the relationship is right. Yeah. You're not going to be turned off by a girl because she slept with 30, 40, 50 people.
But it's the same thing as you saying, okay, you're 5'10", right?
Yeah.
It's like saying you would prefer a guy who's taller than you.
Yeah.
But if he's not taller than you,
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Same thing. Most guys would prefer a girl who doesn't have a crazy high count. Sure. It's not a write-off if she does.
Yeah.
But they prefer she didn't.
They're missing out on that spicy chicken then, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, they might have, listen, they might have sex with her for fun. Yeah. And a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
But like I said, I guess we're talking long term, because if it's short term, then that's the guy who's going to choose every time. Because
well, he knows he's going to get more bang for his buck. Quite literally.
If we're talking about sex.
Yeah.
That's such a good analogy. And I understand why. I understand it's frustrating and stuff. Like I said, I'm not I'm not saying it's right or fair, but
No.
I'm not gonna lie and
No,
say
of
it doesn't
course not.
matter, because it does to me.
I just think I know not many men watch your channel, but I would just challenge men to like really look at themselves and go, what about that is so challenging to me and my perception of someone's attractiveness and suitability for a long-term partner.
But,
Do you know what I mean? Like, just because of someone's sexual history.
I understand.
Especially if you as a man have had quite a busy sexual history.
I understand that, but women don't say, okay, why do I want a guy who's taller than me? Is that bad? Or why do I want a guy who's ambitious? Is that bad?
Like,
or
also, like,
why
women
do I want
don't
a
go,
guy who can protect me? Is that bad?
Women don't go, why do I care? Oh, he's had sex with 100 people. They're just going to go, okay.
No, but women just don't care about. But what I'm trying to say is that women have, and this is why I say men and women, we look for different things. So women have standards, and men have standards.
Yeah.
Okay. Women have higher standards than men do, much higher. There are more boxes for men to tick.
Sure.
Right? Which is why, out of 50 guys, you're only giving 4 or 5 a shot. Whereas if you ask a guy, if 50, let me ask you, if 50 girls approach you, how many girls would you give a shot randomly, do you think? 50%.
50%, and I'm out here giving 10.
Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So women have much higher standards. And they're not sitting there going, wow, maybe I should change that.
No,
and
but,
I'm not saying they should.
No, but I'm saying that, like, we should.
Why?
You're saying that we should.
No, I'm not.
You've said, like, hey, if you're wanting to meet good guys, you have to go to the 80% pool of guys that are postman Pats.
No, I'm saying you should prioritize the standards that you have. So that, for example, if being tall was in your top 3, maybe actually that he wants a relationship should be in your top 3.
Sure.
If, for example, him having a nice smile was in your top 3, maybe that he has a stable financial income should be your top 3. I'm saying, based on what you want, if you're looking for something long term, your priority should be in a different order than when you're looking for something short term.
Sure, that makes complete sense.
And I'm just saying and guys do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, I'm not saying it's right or fair. I'm just saying that I don't think it's bad if women have standards. I don't think it's bad if men have standards. Ultimately, the guy that's right for you, you'll meet his standards. And the guy that
completely.
And the guy that who you're right for, you'll meet his standards too. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
God, yeah. I think it hits a chord with me because I just don't like the idea that women's standards are based on their like bodily choices, and like I think that's for me like, and I think triggering for a lot of women.
I understand.
Like it comes down to bodily autonomy again, and like feeling in control of the choices you make as a woman, and like that kind of thing is
you're in control, but I think.
But men don't like it that you're in control with that.
No, it's not that men don't like it. It's just men just don't have to choose you for your choices.
Sure, fine. And that is ultimately triggering.
Because I could ask, in fact, ultimately, like, why don't women care about a man's body count? Maybe they should.
Maybe you should.
Maybe they should.
No, yeah, you're right.
Like, why don't you?
Because I don't really ask. I don't ask. I don't really care. Quite honestly, if the sex is good, I don't really give a fuck how you learn to do it.
Yeah.
If you had sex with 2 people, but the sex is amazing, great. I never ask the question. I'm also 31, so I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, and I don't think you should ask.
No, I don't think it's anyone's need to know. But like, if the sex is good, I literally couldn't care. You could be a retired porn star.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, if I don't know about, like, whatever. Like,
Let me ask you a different question.
Okay, go on.
A guy, you're dating a guy and you find out he's cheated in every single one of his relationships.
Sure.
Is that going to impact how you potentially see him long term?
I think it would be a conversation that we would have to have about boundaries. I don't like to judge people on their past, but have I been cheated on in almost every relationship I've had? Yes. So for me, if he told me that, I'd be like, cool, here's what you need to know about me then, and here's what we need to decide if we're going to move forward in a relationship. And that would be a conversation about boundaries in terms of things like, okay, why do you think you cheated before? Was there something missing in your relationship? Were you not physically satisfied? Were you not emotionally satisfied? Did you...
He said all those things, he just wanted to do it.
Sure, he just wanted to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
So if you just wanted to do it, what can we do, or what do you think will stop you from doing it now? Because I don't want to be in a relationship with you if you're going to cheat on me.
And that's completely right. What I'm trying to say is that him telling you that's his history, right? That through his actions, through decisions he's made,
Yeah.
it impacts his desirability for long term for you. It may not write him off, but it does make you go, okay, this is something that I need to think about.
Yeah, but that's about levels of treating someone the way you treat a person. I think it's still different in my mind.
Sure, I'm just trying to say that
I know what you're saying. I can see what you're trying to show, and I completely respect
it's not a
that.
write off.
No.
But it's like, okay, it makes you go, okay, I just know that. And if you had the same exact guy, right, someone else who's very similar in a lot of things, but he's always been loyal, it's just going to make him look like a more attractive prospect to you. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I see that. I still don't think it's right, but it's fine.
I understand. Look, like I said, I'm not saying it's right.
No,
I'm not
I know
saying
you're
I'm
not.
not saying it's fair. And yeah, there are double standards.
I'm also saying, like, by all means, men can have their standards in that way, but just in the same way, like, if I don't meet men that are under 6 foot, I will not meet some fantastic men.
Very true.
You will not meet some fantastic women just because you've potentially written her off because she slept with a couple people more than you.
It's very true.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't
And I
disagree
think
with you.
that's where I, like, get a bit like, oh, men can be very black and white, I think.
Sure, I think women can too. I mean, who do you think judges more harshly, men or women?
Probably women.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably women. But we're also harsher on ourselves than we are on you guys. So,
Maybe that's fair.
yeah.
I think that's
I
fair.
would say so.
What's one more thing you want to talk, and then we'll wrap this up?
Oh, God.
Because we could chat all day.
Okay, I know we literally could.
We could chat all day.
Okay, what would be your, like, top 3 things, like, top 3 mini tidbits of advice
Yep.
that you would give to... Actually, no, scrap that.
Had some really good ones too.
Sorry.
Go on.
Or do you want to
That's
just do that instead?
it. No, I could do both. Tell me.
Okay, this is quite a deep one, actually.
Okay, go for it.
Why... Right. So I've turned 31
Yes.
very, really recently.
Yes.
Since I've got into my 30s,
Yes.
I found that my matches on dating apps have completely dropped off.
Okay.
Why do you think that men see women in their 30s? And you can be completely honest about this because I think I know where it will go. But why do you think men decide that a woman in her 30s is undesirable? I already know partially what this answer is going to be. And then what would you say... Do you think that that's something that can be changed from a man's perspective? Or do you think just those men are just not going to be my men? Yeah, difficult, horrible question for you. But
Okay.
I already know where this is going.
Okay, where... Do you want me to answer, or do you want to tell me what you think?
I tell you what I think.
Go on.
I think that women in their 30s are seen as undesirable because, yes, obviously our body clock is a ticking. Men think that women in their 30s are desperate to have a baby.
Okay.
And are desperate to pin a man down because time is running out.
Time is of the essence. Sure.
Comments. It's not of the essence. Like, it's really not. Medicine nowadays is brilliant. And
So
all that
as in
jazz.
that's what they think?
But yes,
Sure.
exactly. I think that's why.
Okay.
And I think it's fucking fascinating. Because I go on a night out. I met a guy the other night and he was literally like, how old are you, 24, 25? And I was like, I'm 31. And he literally was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And you're hitting on me because you think I'm 24, 25. But if I looked 31, you probably wouldn't come anywhere near me.
Yeah,
And on
I
a
mean,
dating app-
you could be 31 and attractive. Like,
No,
he's
true.
still
But
gonna hit on you.
on a dating app, he'll have set his age here between 28 and 22.
Sure.
Or 29 and 22.
Yep.
But I won't go up on his radar because I'm 31.
So you think it's because a lot of guys think that most women in their 30s are looking to settle down yesterday, so they want to stay away.
yeah, basically.
Okay, I think that's partially right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. What I'm about to say, you're not gonna like.
Oh, I know, I'm ready.
And again, I'm an exception to the rule because most women I've dated have actually been older than me.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm an exception.
Uh-huh.
Right. There's no nice way to put this.
No, go on.
Men and women look for different things.
Yeah.
Because of what men and women look for, we peak at different seasons in our life when we are the most desirable to the other sex.
Yeah.
So a lot of because of what women look for, strength, leadership, stability, all of these things, men acquire over time. So what I mean is this.
Yeah.
There would have been guys who would have had no chance with you because you were getting attention from the hotshot, who was older, more established, right? Now, because of what men look for and what they're attracted to, women are more desirable. And there are different factors, obviously.
Yeah.
But like I said, we hit our most desirable at different seasons in our life. So I found for me that as I've gotten older and as I have developed in my career, success or whatever, right? I have a lot more women who approach me now compared to when I was 21.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And like, I know I've spoken to guys where, you know, if they're very established in their mid-30s, they get approached from women who are 20 all the way up to who are 50.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why.
Yeah.
Because of what men are instinctually attracted to, right? This is general, and like I said, I'm an exception to this rule. Beauty, fertility, youth, all that. Women find that they get more attention when they're younger compared to when they're older. And it's just because men and women look for different things. A lot of what men look for and are instinctually attracted to, women have when they're younger.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that a woman who's 40 can't get a man. That's not true. That's not true at all. But I'm saying that it's just, you're gonna find that you may get less attention, right, compared to your 18-year-old self. Like, you must have got a point when you hit puberty and you became a woman.
Yeah.
All guys, old and young, just all started hitting on you, and you were like freaking creep. Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right? But it's like, and that's why. Yeah, I understand there could be an element. If a guy's not looking for something serious, and you might think, because there are a lot of women in their 30s who are looking to settle down, and they may feel a certain pressure, and guys who are also looking for that, that's a perfect fit for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But if a guy's not looking for that, then he might think, okay, chances are if she's 35 and she's single, no kids, she might be looking to have that. If that's not what he wants, then he's just not going to look there.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, if it weeds them out,
exactly, you don't want to deal with them
matter.
anyway. You
But
don't
yeah,
want to deal with them anyway.
I wanted to pose that question to you because I also just think it's an interesting thing to like observe.
Yes.
That, you know, just because of my age, like all my matches have dropped off. I don't think 31.
No, that doesn't mean you're not attractive.
No, of course not. But it's just interesting to me that one number can just change someone's entire perception of whether they're going to be attracted to you or not.
I understand that, but
Which is interesting.
I understand that, but I understand that. I'm not saying it's fair.
I also understand it. Again, I understand all
yeah.
of this, and most of what we're talking about, none of it's fair. Because nothing's fair in love and war.
There are double standards.
Yeah.
There are double standards, and there are plenty of, you know, there are amazing guys out there who simply, just because they're like 5'8",
Yeah.
girls will not even give them
Which
a chance.
I find baffling.
I know, but
I'm like,
it's
you are
the
5'2". Wind your neck, and you do not need a 6'3" man.
It's
You're
true.
5'2".
It's true, but it's like, and there are a lot of harsh realities that men have to accept, right? One of them is that, if he doesn't make a substantial amount, right?
Yeah.
Then a lot of women are not going to be into him. One of them is if he's not ambitious, then I don't want him. One of them might be if he doesn't have a great smile. Like, women can be very harsh, and these are a lot of harsh realities that men have to accept.
Yeah.
And I think there are things that we have to accept on both sides. Like I said, if you're an attractive woman, which you clearly are, you're not gonna have an issue getting guys. But if you're asking me, okay, why am I not getting the same amount of attention compared to when I was 21, 22, 23? I'm just saying it might be because of these things, and it probably is. But then at the same time, the guy who's looking for that's not the guy you want anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's why. But look, we really can chat for ages.
We can, sorry.
We can chat for ages. No, don't be sorry at all. But yeah, tell us where we can find you. Tell us where we can find you.
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the things, and I'm on Spotify.
Perfect.
But yeah, so I'm sure we put it in the bio.
Yeah.
But I'm Kayleigh on Twitter and everything.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's been an amazing conversation, and we'd love to get you on at some point again.
We'll do
You
it.
know, because people love this conversation, this kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys, and I will see you in the next episode.
Pow.